Hello, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party. Me and Rhett just got done with an hour and 10-minute or hour and 30-minute video about Three.js and Angular. We're starting a new video today, right now, and that video is going to be about, I believe it's the Say Hello voice application. Yep, it sure is. So I'm going to kill this. It sure is. That's what my daughter-in-law says all the time. It sure does. I sure do. She says those things. It's pretty cool the way she does it. But anyways, and it's like kind of infected the whole family. We all do it now. We're all like, it sure is. You better believe it. I sure did. We say stuff like that all the time. Anyways, it looks like say hello is the next one. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to look at, okay, so good. I put little notes for myself here. Set up a service to interact. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's right. We're right at the beginning. So say hello is this completely built around the routing. The routing is the core of say hello, which routing can be really bizarre when you try to start deploying things, especially if you're not deploying, if it's not the main application. So if it's going to be down into the root of like Slack in some folders and stuff, then things can get a little weird. It's only weird because you get like a problem on top of a problem on top of a problem. So with these routing things, I like to sort of deploy it as often, early and often, so that I can, if something in the routing does get hokey, I can figure it out. Anyways, so npm start, and let me just show you how this thing is supposed to work. So if you go to my voice application that I built so that I could learn how to do these things, we have discrete. I always like to come in here and look at this anyways, just to make sure that nothing new has showed up in the properties. So anyways, discrete, and then if I hit record and I say a word, I want to be able to match it. So, and I could pick a language, right? So Konnichiwa. I don't know if that, I love saying Konnichiwa. It's like Japanese. Japanese, I just absolutely love everything about that culture that I'm aware of. I love watching their TV stuff. I love reading about their language and hearing about them and stuff like that. I just love. I would never want to be part of it. Japanese, just that whole Japanese culture is just way too structured for my liking, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm glad, and I know people who like living that way, and I think it's great that there's just different ways for people to live. But anyway, so I'm gonna try Konnichiwa and see if it recognizes it. Now, unfortunately, I can't read Japanese. I think these are kanjis. I'm not sure, but I cannot read Japanese characters. But Konnichiwa. So I'm pretty sure that's right. If I remember, I'm pretty sure that is hello in Jap, 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 Japanese. But it would be nice if I could, if the system could just check to see that what I said and what the cloud service returned was hello. And that should be pretty easy to build out. And we're getting close. Um, so, oh, that's right. So in 2026, January 2026, I changed the fundamental way I do stuff, and I started creating um, projects with a Cypress project in it and the actual Angular project and APIs or anything like that. So it used to be the Angular project kind of sat at the top, and then Cypress was inside of Angular. I have reasons why I don't like doing it that way anymore, but we need to go into the Say Hello UI and then npm start. And then, so that's how that's going to work. So if we come in here and we come over here and we say like, I don't even know how to say, I don't know a single word in German. I know Russian is really hard, but I do know some Spanish. So let's try. It's Hola, Hola. So Hola. And see, so I could get a little match. I could get a little matchy match right there. Okay, we are started now. So what do we have so far? Okay, so yeah, so right now it's very confused because the first thing is supposed to be the language, the second thing is supposed to be region. But in my other project, I also have another route called data and entities. So now it thinks the language is data and that the region is entities. And I don't think there's a good way to determine a if a region language combination is correct or not. And I don't think that's something that would be difficult to shoehorn in later on. If there is a way, like if the system will return true or false, then it's easy enough to say that's not, unfortunately, the combination you selected is not recognized. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but it's definitely not recognized. And and then I do want to say that locale is probably not going to work in the long run, but we do seem to be pretty jammed up. So the first one is the language, so EN, and then like this would be ES, right? So EN, ES would be like English in Spain, I think. Oh, no, maybe it's SP. Let's try it. What is English? Okay, so it's E. Okay, so let's go here. English US. Hello. All right. So now, yeah, so the very first thing is the language. The second thing is the region. So our region, and then what is the one for Spain? Oh, it is I think it's Spain. Buenos dias. Yeah, so ES is Spain. Okay, not SP. Okay, so yeah, so this is English Spain. So they may have their own version of English, which definitely makes sense. And it probably would be their version of English would probably be very close to like England. So oh, that actually, do we have England? Oh, I hope I did that. Oh yes, English British. Okay, so let's try this. English British. English US. Gray. Now let's change this to English British. Gray. Okay, so I thought the British spelled gray different. Oh yeah. So what did this one do? Oh, they did the same thing. How funny. So they did provide the British spelling in English, but oddly enough, the British says Gray, and I'm pretty sure British are Grey, or are they? I don't know. What's another word that they spell different? I know they pronounce words very that we spell the same, like herb. We say herb, but they say herb. Let's try that. What are we in right now? I don't even know what we're in. Herb. So it has five things. ERB. Now let's try herb. Do they say herb? I don't know what they say. Herb. So that was that. Now let's change this to English US. Herb. So I think that's, oh no, there's three of them. So that's the old one. And then herb. Herb. And that has two of them. So, anyways, yeah, that's how that works. So let's go ahead. I love playing around with that. Like I say all the time, I go to that page every single day. It's very rare that I don't go to that page and play around a little bit. Um, if nothing else, just to make sure my microphone's working properly. It's really nice to just speak into it and see the words come back, and it's like, okay, that's right. Um, all right, so we're looking to set up a service, I guess, that will interact. So we do have a service net. We have a routing service, and for some reason I called it SH for say hello. Okay, so we want to, what is it called? Voice. SH voice service. So let's do that. Okay, so we want to be in this package. There it is. And then we want to be basically here. And I think I want it to be in the same. I don't think we'll have any other for root singleton services other than these two. And when you do this, and this wasn't I've never heard this before. This is not taught to me by anybody. It's just sort of an observation from personal experience. Okay, so this is not a formal thing. But SH voice service. Whenever you do this, I suggest strongly, from my personal experience, that you consider dependencies. Now, I know it can get unwieldy if you have hundreds of services, which is not unusual, but this is a very nice, simple, like training wheels sort of project right here. So is the routing service, does it need the voice service to exist? If the answer to that is no, then you do not want to inject it unless you just know that. Okay, first of all, is there reason, any any reason that routing service and voice service should need each other? Does the routing service really ever need anything from the voice service? I don't think so. I don't, maybe it might, but I don't think so. Like it is possible that we might be like, oh, if there's an error, then I want you to forward me to an error state. So that would be an interesting sort of development, right? So like we're in the routing service and we're like, hey, does the routing service need to know from the voice service? Yes, because the voice service knows when there's an error. So the voice service should get the routing. So in the routing service, we can create a method that moves you to a error page. Okay, good. Now we can just inject the routing service into the voice service. Um, well, does the voice service ever need the routing service? Yeah, in order to know what the locale and region is, it has to get that from the voice server. Okay, so cool. Let's go ahead and pull the routing service into the voice service. And we're already pulling the voice service into the routing service. Now you've just gotten yourself an NG0200 circular dependency error. That's what happens. So you want to avoid that at all costs and the only reason you want to avoid that at all costs is because it won't work. Right? I mean, it's as simple as that. It's not going to work. So, anyways, SH voice service. All right, so we're going to run this function here, and we have to be in the right folder. So st, is it voice? Say hello UI. And then npm run sh voice service. Now, before I hit that, I like to look in here and I like to say, Soldier Boy. I expect to see this as a little partner for this guy. All right, so like a little second file. So I think that's expected. And I will say, just as I've explained this literally hundreds of times, but I like to do it this way. So for two main reasons. One is I like to have this history of how I created it and all. I like this reference. I like these references. Like I know that this is going to create the service, and all I had to do is tweak that. That probably saved me a lot of time and made things a lot less confusing. And three, I like to be sure that it uses all the right dependencies when it runs things. So if you run it through this package as that, it will definitely use these dependencies, not some dependency that you have like globally installed by accident or something like that. So anyways, so enter. All right, so that's exactly where we want it. Let's see. We know that we want the voice service to be a dependency to this in this one. We just know that. Okay, that's one thing we know. So let's go ahead and just do that. We know that we cannot. I wonder why. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not doing unit tests. I'm like, I'm wondering why I don't have a unit test for that. So this is like a little rant that I go on a weekly basis, but it really stinks that Angular decided to quit supporting or started trying to promote this VI, TEST, VITest, VTest, VI test. It's just I don't think it was ready for prime time. Um, so that's a shame that they decided to do that. It and the main problem I have with it is that it tests things in a node-like context, and I don't give a shit. I really don't. I don't care. Um, if theoretically unit tests should be just JavaScript, I want it to work in the browser. If it doesn't work in the browser, then it doesn't work. If it does work in the browser, then it does work. So I really wish they would have ran things from as a browser first mentality as opposed to like, oh, okay, now we're going to shoehorn browser into our JavaScript unit testing. It's insanity. Anyways, I don't know, and I could be completely wrong. I mean, that's a pretty raw early take. Um, but we do know we want the SH routing service. So let's just go ahead and take care of that. Let's go SH routing service. And see, we need this because like we need to set up the voice recognition. Now, voice recognition doesn't get set up until they hit a button to say to start recording, but this is how we know from the routing service. This is how we know what the current locale and language are. So SH routing service, SH routing service equals an inject. And I really wish they would have come up with a word for inject that was a little bit more like create time dependencies, something like that. Something that at least gave you sort of a clue on what you should be trying to, like what you're doing here. Okay, and for some reason, I don't know why it didn't just bring it in from the core. To me, I haven't really gotten the pattern yet. But it does come from core. I know that. Inject. And then I believe what we want to do is, I think we want to create an effect in here. I think you can do that in these things. And then effect takes a function. And I don't think it has any arguments. And effect also, EFGHI. So I'm going to put that right here. Effect also comes from core. An effect is how you listen to signals. Oh, that's right. You don't do effect there. You do it in the constructor. And I'm not going to lie. This feels really good. It feels really good just sort of being able to type stuff out. Like a lot of times junior developers, I've never actually personally experienced this, but I'll read online on LinkedIn and stuff that they'll be like, oh, the junior developer was watching the senior developer and says, I can't wait till I can just type in code without having to look up something every 2 seconds. And they're like, there's nothing wrong with that. And no, there isn't nothing wrong with it, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with also enjoying being good at typing stuff and being able to do it. There's nothing wrong with that either. Um, but anyways, we want to listen for something, and we know that we're going to have a locale, and that's going to be a string. And I think I'm going to default it to empty. Now, a lot of static code analysis tools will complain, like linters and stuff will complain about this. Locale and language. Oh no, region. So region is typically a like a location, a physical location, like the United States. Usually a country. I don't think it's always a country. It might always be a country. I don't know. And then language is that, and you combine those two to create a locale. And a locale is a much bigger thing than anything that is like just computer science. It's like a locale is actually a combination of like things that include like a map, not a map, a flag, language, or currency, all kinds of stuff, like thousands of things will create what is a locale, which I think was a humongous, just an enormous mistake. It was a bad call on the side of whoever is doing this, because quite honestly, like it's probably most important to capture the like languages that are dying. There are a lot of endangered languages that have less than 1,000 speakers. Generally, those languages do not have an associated map, do not have, I mean, flag, do not have an associated currency. There's like a lot of things they don't have. And this system, the people that decided to focus on, I could see why they did it. I probably would have made the exact same mistake. But now I'm like, oh, I would love to have like Navajo Indian. Uh, do they have a language in Easter Island? Maybe that language. And it would be kind of cool to be able to do sort of analysis and play around with those languages. But like if you're not a full locale, then they don't have any way of getting you in here. So I always had these fantasies. I can't even tell you how many different just general ideas of what things I thought would be so cool you can't even do. Um, like first of all, I was not aware, probably most importantly, I was not aware of the way I thought that the browser had code inside of it that knew how to handle languages. Like I don't understand how languages are handled, but I thought it had code in it to handle languages, and it doesn't. It it the browser sends it to a voice processing scheme, which is, I think there's a way to set it up for locally, but it's typically uses a cloud service, and either Google or Microsoft, and I guess they just donate that. Although they must collect a ton of information off of your voice. So there's probably a lot of benefit to them. Like they're not giving it to you well, they're giving it to you for free, but they're getting something for it too, I think. I'm not sure about that though. But anyways, inside of my routing service, um, I'm just gonna say const uh, locale info equals this dot sh routing service dot. I guess I didn't realize that. I guess we could say, we don't have to do it that way. I guess we could say like this. This dot region is equal to, and I just don't even know if it would be very interesting to dig into what exactly, like is it better to just have one and then do the processing here? So just get the locale, or is it better to get the region? And actually, I guess all I want is the locale. You know what? I don't need the region. Oh, I probably do. Oh, I may. And in the future I might end up doing this. So I'm just gonna say region, language, locale. But I'm going to let the at least at this point in time, I'm gonna let the um I'm gonna let the router decide the language. I mean the locale. Kind of seems like it's not really the router's business to put together the locale, but start. You know what? Okay. I, I don't know. I okay, so I do think we need to do it this way. I just can't freaking oh, this. This is like one of those things where my spidey senses are telling me that all the router really should know about is what's in the route. It shouldn't figure out that something is a locale or not. But then the part of me is just um, like the locale is sort of known. Like there's no the, the way locale is it's guaranteed to be that the region dash language. So it isn't really intelligence. It's not really logic. It's just the reality that the region dash language is the locale. I'm just going to go with that for now and just see what goes wrong. Um, I would love, actually, there's nothing I would love more than to figure out exactly why this is a mistake. I think this is a mistake. I think getting the locale from the routing service, even the routing service even being aware that there's a thing called a locale is crazy. But see, the thing is like the UI is going to need to know the locale. So that might even be a better argument why the UI shouldn't. That's probably actually an even better argument why the UI should be listening to this for the locale, to the voice service to the locale. Now, does that see? I think this actually. Oh, that's why I don't want to do it. I think this. I wonder when I create the component if I'm going to run into that NG0200 error when I try to make voice service and routing service required for that's interesting. But actually, yeah, so I think this is locale is this. I don't think I should get it from the routing service. I think I should calculate it. Let's see this dot region dash dot language, right? It's region and like, oh no, the other way around. Language, this dot region. And now I wonder if I should make this like a signal. I think I should. So let's go to the routing service and see how I did that there. So one thing I do want to get rid of is this, right? Because locale is equal to that. Add that in a dash. All right, so we want to get rid of this. That means that this doesn't work anymore. This doesn't work anymore. That's not all that's going to break. Oh, interesting. All right. So I think this does a good job of breaking. It's kind of funny because it gets the locale by getting all the parameters, removing all the slashes. Oh, so it must be the parameters must be en/en/es, and then breaking out the first one is the language. It knows how to break out the first one and the last one. Yeah, I think we want to do it this way. Now this should break the transpiler because the voice services now. So we want to do something along these lines for locale. Basically, we want this exact line here in here, and then we want to do this. And then let's comment that out. And then I think what it's like this. Okay, we need to bring in writable single signal from, I believe it's from core too. And now we start getting big. I kind of like to do this. I have found recently that there's another good reason for doing this other than Git, because for me it's Git, but I noticed that there's a lot of the people I work with that don't, for some reason, a lot of people I worked with have never decided to really invest into writable signal, um, invest into a really good monitor. Like if you like, yeah, probably monitor is probably the number one thing. I don't know though. SSD is huge too. Either a monitor or SSD if you're working on your own stuff or if you're working on stuff is probably going to be um, dot set. Um, well, like for quality of life situation, if you can afford it, make it happen at all. A nice wide monitor is huge. But like this whole thing, to my original point, was this whole thing is really nice. Breaking things down like this is very, very nice for people with narrow monitors. If they have a narrow monitor, then their life is going to be a lot easier um, if you uh, if you make things a little bit more vertically narrow. All right, so now we have our. So now can we? I don't know if I can do this. I'm actually very curious if this is going to get like an NG 200 error in my actual let's close that application. See, it's like I don't know what this is. So now I get, yeah, that's right. I totally forgot. That's how we do that. App. Where's my app? TS, there you are. Okay, so we want to, yeah, we want to do an import. And this is going to be SH voice service. What's that, Rhett? Yeah. And now we want to inject that. And yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a problem or not. SC. I don't think so. This is no better time to think about it than now, though. So I'm a little worried that this might cause that circular dependency because when it goes to create this component, it's going to create routing service, and then when it tries to create after it creates the routing service, it's going to attempt to create the um, voice service. SH voice service, and then voice service depends on the routing service. So that should be fine, right? Because it goes to create the routing service. Oh, wait. Then it goes to create the voice. Oh, yeah, but the routing service already exists. Whereas the routing service does not depend on the voice service. So I think I can do this. Can't wait till I'm a little bit more confident in how that all works. Okay, so now we want to get that from our SH voice service in our template. And most people don't realize this, and when they hear this, it actually helps them a lot. But this whole thing, all of this stuff is its own language called the Angular template language, or maybe Angular templating language. Okay, so that worked. Everything was happy. That error, the NG200, is if you're working on an older version of Angular, you will very likely it won't show up unless you like what I just did. If that was wrong, if that causes an error, it probably wouldn't show up until you restart the server. So you could be working along, everything's just working for hours and hours. Sometimes people don't turn off their computer for days. So you could be working on something for days, and then suddenly you're out of nowhere you're saying that NG0200 error, and you're just like, what happened? I've been working on this, and then the farther you get for it, the less likely you're going to remember what exactly you did to cause it. So that one's just nasty, nasty. Duh, duh, duh. Uh, 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 uh. Ooh, that nasty code. Who's that? But anyway, so I feel like that's good stopping point. Okay, so we have our new voice service, and our new voice service does in fact communicate out that what the locale is. So we know what the language is from the routing service. We know what the region is from the routing service. And then we know what the locale is from the voice service. So the voice service controls what the current locale is. I think that makes sense. The routing service determines what the language and the region are, which I think makes sense because everything is driven foundationally from the router. The router is the truth, but the locale is actually calculated from the truth, and the intelligence to determine how to calculate the locale is in the voice service. It's not a lot right now, right? It's this, but who knows? We may try. Who knows what kind of how this could evolve? But yes. So en what else is there? En or sp? No, yeah, sp. S is it? I can't remember if it's es or sp, but what else? Fr. I know fr is French. So the language is fr, the region is es, which es is Spain. So French in Spain is what that's saying. The French version, the version of French they speak in Spain. I would imagine the French in Canada is a little different, but we'll see on that. Now I'm curious, and here's another, like this is a really good example of something that ChatGPT may tell me and just be completely wrong, because it's like it's really in flux. And it's weird because it's been in flux. It's been in a specific state of flux for a long time. Actually, I guess that's not true because if you look, the API is actively changing. They are actively adding new attributes and stuff to the API. But so okay, so in the browser voice API, is there a way to determine if a locale, region, comma, or I've decided I'm starting to put commas at the very end. So when I first learned English in like maybe fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, like at 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, um, they always said you should put a comma right before your conjunction. So like if it was like Marty, Melissa, and Rhett, then you would put a comma after Melissa. But then suddenly, I think it was in seventh grade, so when I was 13, the rule changed, and then you weren't supposed to put a comma there. And I've really struggled with that for like the last 50 years. Um, but I've decided that's it. I'm putting the comma. I'm over it. I'm over. I don't need that. I don't need that. That problem. That trouble. Anyways, determine or region, locale, region, or language is not supported. So I don't plan to do anything about this. It's just like kind of the thought just passed my mind. I just sort of want to get some food only indirectly. There's no single is this locale supported lookup that is fully reliable across browsers. You typically have to infer support differently for speech synthesis versus speech recognition. Okay, okay, so yeah, I am focused on speech recognition. Oh, for speech, there's no official API to pre-check whether a locale is supported before attempting to use it. So you can't reliably ask the browser, do you support FR-CA ahead of time. Instead, you have to infer through behavior. Set the locale, start if the locale is not supported or effectively unsupported. You will see on error, event R. Yeah, so but not well trained, ignored. Some engines silently fall back to ENUS, no errors thrown. You think it's supported? Oh, yeah, that's awful. All right, so no. No is the answer. They do not support that, at least at this time. Next year at this time, actually, I think I'll be long done with this project. If I'm still working on this project, it's probably just going to be to add more languages and more versions of Hello. Because like I was showing, like there's most languages have like a half a dozen like sort of opening greetings. I don't know what you would call a salutation. I don't know what a salutation is though. Like, um, so in language is a word like hello. So basically, the generic start greeting classified in some way, like maybe uh, starting salutation. Uh, is a special grammatical character of its own, but linguists as a few overlap depending on the angle used. Greeting, salutation. This is simplest, most practical. Hello is a greeting specifically. Okay, so greeting is kind of the word that takes care of that. It's like your first thing when you see someone, and then salutation is a type of word, which is like, because I think bye, hello, goodbye, um, those are both salutations. Um, so in everyday language, hello is equal to a greeting. A phatic expression in linguistics, especially in pragmatics, hello is often called a phatic expression. So a phatic expression is language used to open or maintain social connection, hello, rather than convey new information. Hello doesn't really mean anything informal, it just signals reactions. Wow, call for, hey, yeah. Discourse marker. What is that? In some analysis, especially spoken language, it can be seen as a discourse marker, something that helps structure conversation rather than add meaning. So, can you provide a list of, what are these things called? Greeting, salutation, salu in English. Sure. Hello, hi, hey there, hello there, hi there. And then formal, good morning, good evening, how do you do? Oh, how do you do? And see, that's the thing, how do you do? I wonder if that's easy to for other. Pleased to meet you. Oh, that's a good one. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. This one is probably very challenging for foreign speakers because I think that pleasure, pleasure, I wonder if I know they do a lot of that kind of stuff in Chinese and stuff. Nice to meet you. That's probably a good one. What's up? What's going on? How's it going? How are you? How you doing? How's everything? Yo, sup? Howdy. And then time-based. See, I feel like this is actually what I want a page to end up having is all these, which I didn't think. I thought it would just be one word, one thing. But now that I think about it, it's like that. And it would be nice if they were like, um, um, good day. All right. Really? All right? Oh, that's it with the question. Hey, mate. Um, okay. How about for Spanish? Spanish. Shoo. Hola, buenas. Ay, I didn't know that. ¿Qué tal? How's it going? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Cómo va? Then there's the formal, polite, informal. See all the choices? So, which English? Which English um, version of the, what is it called? Salutation, something salutation. Greeting salutation. Salutation would be easiest for a Russian to say based on the characters that Russian speakers language speakers are comfortable with. Hi. Hi. And that is one of the sweetest ones in the United States. Like, hi. Hi is generally that's like what you would expect your mom to say or something like that. It's not formal at all. It's very informal, but like, it's not, it's not rude informal. It's not like sup. You probably don't want to go up to like someone you're interviewing a job with and say sup. You probably want to say hi. Hi. Hello is very comfortable. Can map hello. No difficult consonants. Hey. Easy but slightly more vowel. Still no difficult consonant. Good morning. Good easy morning. Manageable but longer. Oh, rhythm. Yeah, see, rhythm is just built into the English language like you wouldn't believe. I don't know if that's all. Okay, how about for Chinese? So simple, ranking easiest. I wonder what the how do you do makes it unnatural in modern language. Repetition, how do you do? Abstract phrasing for learners. See, good afternoon and good evening are harder. Or okay, so how about Chinese? See, this is the kind of analysis that I want to end up doing in this application. How close it is to Mandarin or Cantonese, but I'll focus on Mandarin since it's the most common globally. Oh wow, there's no TH sound. Limited consonant preference for clear, separate syllables. Final consonants are often simplified or dropped in perception. English diphthongs are usually fine if slow and clear. So the English one is high, so that's going to be easiest. One syllable, close, commonly. Hello is very natural. Hey, also very easy. Good morning. Good is fine. Morning requires a nasal plus a final consonant control. How are you? Can be, how are ya? What's up? Wow, that is so interesting. I would never have thought that of been. How do you do? Rare and most reputation fills an abstract. Good afternoon. Abstract pragmatic meaning. I guess that means like, how do you do? Like if you're trying to do like a direct translation of how do you do, that's gonna be really weird. Um, Hi and hello are especially easy. So if you're Chinese and you come here, I would probably go with hello, but you might go with hi. Hi, hello. Okay, how about Japanese? Japanese. And then I want to try like, what's like a good, like, what's a good language that like people speak? Like I know there's like a ball, I don't know, Slavic, I don't know. Hi, yeah. Yeah, because I think I hear them say hi a lot. It's a the natural way of saying that would be very aggressive in the United States, though, just to be clear. Like hi, kind of be a little bit intense. Hello, hey, oh, I know, like, what is well, so the thing with India is, I guess they would all probably know hello because it's just on there, but trying to think of, um, um, speakers would have hard time with hi. It's not universal first. H and the diphthong I. Hi. Starts with a glottal fricative. H of hi. Ends with a diphthong. Glide. I. Having a real H sound, being able to produce it. Ooh. Wow. Yeah, I don't think I ever hear a Spanish speaker say hi. I. G. French. Italian. Portuguese. Hawaiian. Okay, so what would be hardest to easiest for French speakers? Let's see. For native speakers, difficulty mostly comes out of the H sounds silent. Yeah, I did notice that they kind of leave letters off a lot. And you're just kind of like, I don't understand. Okay, so what's up is hardest. Hi. Hey, H is an issue. So how are you? H again. It's like we picked out H for all of them just to piss off the French people. Good morning. I do notice that French people do often give like these good morning, good afternoon, and they just seem so formal and so sweet and so, but they seem a bit arrogant, but who knows? Okay, so how are you? Structurally repetitive, unnatural. Easiest, hello. I notice they usually call it allo. Hello. Hello. Hello, show me your women. The French, they're supposed to be very romantic, apparently. Um, good afternoon. Long, but each word phonetically accessible, no difficult diphthongs. Good afternoon. Good evening. So I would have thought the French would be easiest for them to say that, but the hardest to easiest. What's up? What's up? Hi. Hi is the second hardest. Hey, of these 10. And hello, but they don't usually sound quite right, but we get it. If you come up, if you're a French speaker and you say hello, we'll get it. How do you do? Good morning, good afternoon. That's so funny. If you want, I can also show something interesting here. Why hello is almost uniquely easy. So I have noticed that a lot of people from foreign countries do say hello a lot. Um, and I'm always just like, man, why are you making it so hard on yourself? You could just say hi. Hello is one of the rare English greetings that feels structurally borrowable, but by very different language systems. France and Chinese declare despite those languages being almost opposite of how they handle sound. Fits syllable structural perfectly. Already half native. Yeah, see, alo, they already say that. Then Chinese fits syllable structure perfectly. Mandarin Chinese is very strict about syllables, usually consonants plus vowel blocks. No complex consonant clusters. No final consonants like consonant chaos like English reductions. Why hello works, it maps to HE, LO, is unusually successful because it sits in a rare sweet spot. Its syllable transmission. Oh, that is true. You can just look at it. You can see where the syllables easy to split. Both has low consonant complexity. It's phonetically flexible. French struggle with H and English diphthongs. Chinese struggle with clusters and final consonants. That is fascinating. Hello works globally because I would never have thought that. That is so fascinating. Anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.